Okay, today's lesson 3.7 is quadratic inequalities. Okay, these are two things that we've definitely dealt with before, right? Maybe not on the same lesson in together. Okay, inequalities are less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay, and this little chart is to tell you what each of those symbols means when you put it in a graph. Okay, if it's less than or greater than, that means it's a dotted line, okay? And if a point is on a dotted line, that means it's not a solution. But if it's in the shaded area, it is a solution, okay? Solid line is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay, also, the direction that the symbol is pointing tells you whether you shade below the line, that's less than or equal to, or above the line. This is the shading, the coloring in. That would be greater than or equal to. Kind of makes sense, right? Less than means below, down, okay? Greater than means up, above. So we have been doing quadratics this whole 6 weeks. We did inequalities some in the first 6 weeks, okay? A little bit in lesson 1.8, also in lesson 1.9, okay? So it hasn't been super recently, but we have done them already. Plus, you did it a lot in Algebra 1, okay? First thing that we want to do is we're going to label which one of these symbols we use for each of these graphs. There's 4 symbols and 4 different graphs, okay? So we want to match each of these graphs with a symbol. We're not even going to put the equation. We're just going to determine, based on what's going on in the graph, which symbol we need to use. Okay, so I think easiest to determine first is if it's a dotted line or a solid line. Okay, number 1, is that dotted or solid? Dotted, right? It's or dashed. I call it dotted, but really I guess those are dashes, not dots. But either one means the same thing. Okay, so it's dotted line, so it's either greater than or less than. Okay, well, is the line, is the graph shaded underneath the graph or above the graph? Right, underneath, okay? Kind of hard to tell because it really looks like it's shaded on the left and on the right here. But the way to tell for sure is start at the vertex. Okay, that's the highest or lowest point. And then you can see definitely it's underneath there that's shaded. So it's below, it's dotted. So that means this is a less than graph. Okay, so let's label that one less than. What about number 2? What's the difference on number 2? It's shaded above, right? Still dotted, but shaded above, so that would be greater than. Okay, then on number 3 and number 4, these are both solid lines, all right? No dotted lines, so it's going to be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Is this one shaded above or below the parabola? Above. It's a little easier to see when it's not such a skinny parabola, right? It's above and solid, so that's greater than or equal to. And then what does that make this one? Right, less than or equal to, right? It's shaded below. Okay, so those are our 4 types of graphs that you might see. Now we're going to make some sketches of graphs ourselves, okay? We'll have number 5. Y is less than x squared plus 2. Okay, I'm going to use my highlighter for this. Okay, that's kind of why I asked y'all to get the highlighter. One of the reasons I asked y'all to get a highlighter. Right, so first of all, we need to determine, is it going to be a parabola that opens up or downward? Okay, and we've learned that before. Okay, we learned that if the number in front of x squared is positive, it opens up like a smile, and if it's negative, it opens down like a frown. Okay, so is this one up or down? Up, right? Also, if you don't remember that rule, we can always put it in y equals and just look and see what it looks like on the graph. Okay, you can do that on the test if you don't remember. So it's going to be opening up. And based on this symbol, is it going to be a dotted line or a solid line? Dotted, right? This one's going to look like this. Okay, you can just match it up. Okay, so it will be, if we sketch it, it needs to be a dotted line. I'm not that good at drawing graphs like this, so don't worry. Okay, if you're not either. But it's less than, so it needs to be dotted line, and we need a shade below. Okay, now we'll do it just like this. Just make sure that you can see that it's a dotted line is what I'm worried about. I'm going to have to kind of re-go back through it. Dotted line. Might be easier if you don't use the same color. Okay, number 6 is going to be y is less than or equal to negative 5x squared. Or based on what we said before, is this going to open up or down? Down, right? It's negative. Also, it has a 5 in front of it. I don't know if y'all remember transformations, but that would be a vertical stretch. So it means it's going to be pretty skinny. Okay?